You've talked about understanding the business from a business perspective. So, what were the challenges when you first started coming in and talking from a business perspective? And nobody expected that. What were some of the challenges to overcome that you could share with us?
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. When HR starts talking about the business, people look at you like, what are you talking about? But the more you get in, and for me, doing my own research on the side, facilitated through the program, we had to write a lot about who are our competitors, what makes us different. That really helped me understand it. But through interviews with our other leaders, asking them questions about our differentiating value propositions, about what they see the marketplace look like, they wanted to have those conversations. They wanted to talk about their business and their thoughts on it. So that really helped me to change that narrative and engage in those conversations. And then once you engage in that and you bring in your own perspective because you're keeping up on what's happening in the industry, you're attending the trade shows alongside your team, you're sitting in the team meetings, and you're talking to the employees and you're talking to the leadership. HR has a really interesting vantage point where we bring all these different areas together that no one else in the business has the opportunity to bring together. So when you start understanding the business, talking to the leaders about it, and you bring in valuable insights, they do start to see that it takes time. It does not happen overnight. And for me, I had to allow it to happen on its own time. But when you look at it over the course of months or a couple years, things changed drastically for us. So that helped me engaging in those conversations and bringing my own insights into what was happening in the industry and the marketplace with our competitors as well.
So, a lot of great stuff you just said there. One of the biggest takeaways was you started interviewing your internal customers, all the different departments, whether it's marketing or sales or HR, we are all in support of all the rest of us. So you think about it, the visual that came up was that those are your internal customers that you're supporting. And the number one thing we do as companies is we know our customers. We talk to them. Like we understand their challenges, their needs, their pain points, emotional, rational. The more that we know about them, the better we can serve them. Now, here's the question. All of a sudden, they've got somebody from HR calling up and saying, hey, I want to talk. How did you position those conversations with them to get that openness, that receptivity? You said they really wanted to talk about this.
I think it's human nature that people want to talk about things that they're passionate about, that they care about, that they know about, and they also want to help. So for me, it aligned with being newer in the company and coming in and saying, I want to learn and I want to be able to add more value and I want to help your organization, help me understand what you know and your perspectives. I didn't get a lot of pushback from that. I think the hardest thing was just finding the time because our leaders are extremely busy. They're traveling, they're meeting with customers, which of course is very important. So I think it's just finding the time. But when we did take the time to hear from them and then being able to use that information, those conversations aren't just about tell me what's going on in the industry and tell me what's going on in the market and our customers, but it was also about what are your challenges? And you can leave some of those things in there so that as an HR leader, you're understanding how do your people fit into all of this, and then it starts to give you the foundation for those bigger conversations that come along time or along the road over time around, okay, we have this foundational conversation about the business, about the marketplace, about your team, and then things come up, so it gives you that foundation to continue to add value with them over time. So I think coupling it with all of that, I didn't have big issues. I think people want to help and they want to talk about things that they know about and they want to be seen as an expert. So it wasn't difficult other than finding the actual time and prioritizing it to do it.
And I love how you positioned it. Help me help you. You said that in various form there. There's going to be very few people who are like, no, I don't want your help.
Yeah. And you said something that I love, and that was that we're all on the same team. And I think about that and I tell people that internally all the time. We're all on the same team and we all should be rowing in the same direction. And maybe we have different ideas on how to get there and what's best. But at the end of the day, we're all on the same team. We're all here to help each other. And that's my job is to make sure that I understand what's going on in their worlds, so that I can help them as well.
I had an idea. It was from a chief information security officer that was on this podcast, and his team culture was his top priority. And it was about we're one team. And he has in his email signature, hashtag one team in his email signature. I thought, What a great idea. 2 weeks ago, I put it in. It's now in all my email signatures because we are one team. It's not an us versus them. And what you did is you made a gesture and you reached out and said, as your team member, how can I better help you? Very few people are going to deny that or turn that down.
And I do think sometimes you do have to remind people that we're on the same team. We have the same goals. And sometimes when things get a little difficult, especially if you have different opinions on how to get somewhere or different opinions on the problem at hand, you just have to remind people anytime you have a difficult conversation, we're on the same team. We're working together. I want to hear your perspective. I want to share my perspective, and let's come up with the best solution that we can together.